control and the determination of the domination forces to hang on and not shift into the new world reality. And then within that we have the group that's bringing the new republic back into the United States and democracy back into the world that can truly function as a republic the way it was created to be done. And this doesn't have anything to do particularly with the Republicans. The republic is an independent factor of all people that want to see our natural beneficial style of government come back in, something that could be beneficial and utilized in Dominion as we approach that. In fact, the reflections on what a good government would be in Dominion is one that has less and less and less government, to the point to where they only came together and agreed on major things that needed to be done, and then allowed the people to do it through their own resources. And internationally, the government would function as a coordinator and to help sustain things, not to dominate or control things. When government came under the auspices or control of the Illuminati back, hundreds and thousands of years ago, it's just been a process ever since of one kingdom rising after another, one dominating force after another that would shift and ultimately self-destruct, and then another would rise. And what we see in the United States is, at this present time, is a revival of the Republic, which was what our Constitution originally set forth, but it was promptly taken over by the controllers and shifted into domination. So we would like to put a lot of energy towards that today. And also, we have some M6 flares coming in from the sun that are supposedly going to hit us with a glancing blow, but it is strong enough that it could affect some transmission, so we'll work with that. And does anyone else have any ideas for the day that you'd like to bring forward?
The volcanoes in Iceland. Always. Always,
all right. We'll take a look at that as we go around the Ring of Fire. And there were a couple of mentions of the weather in the Southern California. The possibility of some rain coming in, we'll definitely work on that. And so if there are no other requests, we will move along. And I do have one thing I'd like to introduce you to today. It won't be new for some of you, but I've been working with my increasing openness and ability and clairvoyance developing and playing with doing timelines. I've been successful with this in the past, but didn't really understand how it worked. I'm developing that to a higher degree now, and so we can take this to a little time as we get into our meditation to do timelines to show you how to reach ahead in time on any particular subject and see when an event's going to occur. And so with that in mind, get totally comfortable now. Feet flat on the floor, hands separated. Take your awareness up in your forehead. And you feel yourself pull back in, your awareness pull back into yourself as you do this. And you begin to disassociate from the outer world. And take a step back into the soul center. This is the indwelling high soul that deals with our everyday conscious reality. It's the experiential part of ourselves that is not limited to this focus that we have of this moment of now. It can move backward and forward in time and cross-dimensional and anywhere else. And learning to manage your point in time and your place in time is literally all that psychic ability is. And learning to use your subtle energy sensors, which are equivalent to the physical energy sensors, learning how to open up and listen, and pay attention to what those subtle energy influences are. That's all it's being psychic is. So move your awareness back now, a step deeper into the psychic center. And this is where we open up the subtle energy sensors. And just feel yourself stepping out of that I am state of awareness, which the soul is in, back into the state of I am everything, and literally through the psychic center, through the vibraports in the chakra system, you can touch and bring in everything in existence through those receptors. We're just electromagnetic creatures. And if you remember seeing pictures of Kirlian photography, all those little streamers of energy radiating out from your skin are those vibraports I call them. Now take another step back, just a little bit deeper into the extended consciousness. Feel yourself begin to expand. That point of expansion is where you bring the subtle energy system more into play, the unconscious system that is the subconscious mind, and the various energy fields that compromise the subconscious and the operating system of your body, actually. So at this point, in that way, step back, you can ask questions and feel responses come and rise into your head. So the question we're going to ask this morning, for the step back condition, think of something that is scheduled to happen in your immediate future, say within a week or so. Just put your point of attention on that. Now, in the moment of now, feel the intent to know exactly when this is going to happen or if it happens at all. And you can send your awareness on out forward into the standing waves of the future, which are resonating back to us. And this is done with feeling. This is not clairvoyance or picture impression. This is all done with feeling to determine a timeline. And feel yourself in this moment of now, in this timeline that you requested, in this moment of now, today. And then move right straight ahead a day and see if there's any change in how you feel or if there's any resistance to moving forward. Then move ahead 2 days, and what you'll feel is a resistance when you hit your time point. You'll feel a resistance like you can't go forward anymore, and that's your signal that that day has, you hit the day that you're seeking, that you want to know when the event's going to occur. And once you feel that, then you just kind of step back a little bit and think about the hour that it's going to occur. And just kind of be in the hour face of a clock, following yourself around the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the face of a clock. And you'll feel a resistance when you hit your time. And you can take this right down to the minute also. And with clarity, greater and greater clarity in your system, clearing out patterns and forms, you become more receptive through your vibraports to the subtle energy frequencies that are coming back from events in the future that are already occurring, back into this moment of now, which gives us our experientiality and what we choose to express in this incarnation. So that's how it works. With a little practice, you can become very effective in hitting the exact timeline. But it's done with feeling. It's done by becoming in this moment of now, becoming your whole system of resonance and receptors. And that's how you develop your skills. That's what Rachel's doing as she opens up the new portals in the field she's working in. And this, you can become incredibly sensitive in your psychic sensors when you have the clarity to feel a subtle energy and define it, rather than just plowing along through the waves of time frames and experiences and whatnot in the future. All right, now in your step back state, drop your awareness down to the heart center, to the 0 point that holds the past, present, and future in form, in that little aspect of the spirit center that is there, that is you. And just take time to become that point of light that is the spirit center deep within your hearts. And just allow that point of light to expand within yourself. As that light expands, you're coming into contact with more of the other dimensional realities and all things that exist. That's what Rachel's doing when she opens her portals and pulls the light of Oversoul into her now. She's opening up the potential of becoming incredibly psychic and in attaining knowledge from higher, more evolved states of consciousness, and even transgalactically. Just feel yourself expand out more and more and more, and with the intent, as you gain clarity and sensitivity, of opening those channels into the Oversoul. You feel yourself reaching up from that 0 point up through the crown chakra into Oversoul, making connection there. And the light expands upward or downward. It's all one resonance. Now take your point of attention back to the 0 point and drop your awareness down the spine to the root chakra, through the low self, down into earth mind, which is just lower frequency ranges of physical matter, all the way down into earth mind in the Akashic records, where everything of the past is still held in form. As you gain clarity, you can go back in time in earth mind and read and feel anything that's happened there and actually alter reality of things that are influencing you negatively in the 0 point of now, that are coming forward in the standing waves. You just become acquainted with earth mind, realizing it's all happening between the balance of the female undersoul and the polarity of undersoul in balance with the oversoul male polarity. That's what distorts the standing waves, or creates the standing waves out of streamers of energy unorganized. They simply become organized in the hologram, the holographic reality we experience. And as the little individualized frequencies interact with all other frequencies, it creates physical matter and form, which all operates according to the laws of physics. And this is all being created from that little point in your heart. So this is puts you directly in resonance with all that is, and identifying with that state of being that is all that is, the supreme power. Now we'll do some work with Earth Mind and the physical properties of Earth and the devic forces of Earth. So in that expanded consciousness of low self, take your awareness to the ring of fire, the earthquake grid. Go to Southern California, our point of beginning, and feel the ongoing movements of the many fracture zones there. And we'll feel the accumulation of all the earthquakes in the last 7 days, and that gives us a picture, a feeling, an understanding of where the active zones are. And even though we're working with earthquake paths through the 0 point, we're also working with earthquake's feature in this moment of now. And as such, we can draw energy from the past, upper spines, out through the crown chakra, out through oversoul, out into the atmosphere, into the ozone levels, where we created the golden grid as a protective shield around the world. And our intent in the golden grid today is to shield and protect Earth from the X6 flares that are on their way in as we speak. We see those, we feel and become our golden grid, and we feel the X-rays coming in, and we just carry those around the Earth and out the other side. The electromagnetic grid of the golden grid attracts and holds the X-rays, sends them around the Earth and out the other side. We can actually follow these back to the sun and work directly with the devic consciousness of the sun. Just feel an attachment between your heart center and the sun. And we will the sun to deflect any energies it releases away from the Earth or from any planet that it could be detrimental to. Recognizing that the solar flares are a necessary part of energy release from the sun that creates the radiation that furnishes all the energy that we live and exist by. Even as we deflect that energy away, the detrimental energies, we attract and bring into the golden grid and distribute around the Earth energy and power to strengthen the grid and to strengthen our own functions and abilities. Feel your whole systems light up now with the return flow from the sun. You don't have to be in the direct light to experience this, because it penetrates everything on Earth. It's just the flow of God force energy that sustains all life, that all creatures of chlorophyll that are the base of the food chain. We see this energy expressing around the world, and we see this energy neutralizing pollutants in the world, such as the radioactivity in the Pacific, We see the radiation from the sun breaking down the radioactivity and healing all the creatures affected by radioactivity. Now to further reinforce the golden grid, take our awareness up to the fault line, the major fault line in California, San Diego, continuing to release, lift that energy upward, on up through San Francisco, the San Andreas fault zone, which the length of California, which is the subduction zone of the Pacific Plate, encountering, subducting, it creates the coastal mountains and the separate plate that subducts under the Sierra Nevada mountains. Lift that energy upwards, the Sierra Nevadas. It's interesting to feel the shifts in the types of energy that are being released, and the heat that's generated from the friction as we gather the building stress and release it, where the heat is transmuted into live energy that can be directed. I take awareness on eastward to the Rocky Mountains, northward through Utah to southern Idaho and Driggs, Idaho, where there is a 3.8, which is right on the edge of or near the caldera of the Yellowstone. We go into the Yellowstone caldera and lift that energy upward, transmuting its heat into energy, filling up our golden grid, maintaining, strengthening the shield of energy around the earth. There's also an asteroid coming in. It's going to approach very close to Earth, and we put just enough energy into the golden grid to keep it bounced away from being attracted to Earth. We do that with the repulsive energy. We also send that repulsive energy out in the direction of Nibiru and the dead star that Nibiru circles. We nudge that dead star further out in orbit. By putting a repulsive negative charge in the energy we direct toward it, repulsing the negative field of the dead star. Prompting it to move at a distance that will not be detrimental to the world or to any other planet, or to cause disturbances in the sun. Bring your awareness back into Earth's mind, to the Pacific Northwest. Subduction zone of the Cascade Mountains, ancient volcanoes and active ones. Lift that energy upward. Lubricating the San Juan de Fuca plate so it slips easily under the Pacific Northwest. Take our awareness on northward to Alaska, subduction zone of the Gulf of Alaska, penetrating into south central Alaska, causing a myriad of small continual earthquakes there. Lift that energy upward, releasing. All the way up to Mount McKinley. And downward on the Aleutian chain. The Aleutian is pretty mild today. Move westward to Russia. Down the Kamchatka Trench to Japan. There's low to mid-range activity as always in Japan. As we lift that energy, we wrap it around the radioactivity and carry the radioactivity into the ionosphere and our golden grid, transmuting the radioactivity into beneficial energy. Take your awareness on southward to the Philippines. Here's 5.3 at Caribean, Philippines. It's major activity, probably expressing as a volcano. On southward to southern Philippines, around Babon, 4.8. And on down into Indonesia and along the Java Trench where there's deep activity in the trench itself. We clear this all the way up the Java Trench to Thailand, clearing any potential of a tsunami. Now take your awareness eastward. New Guinea is pretty mild today. Solomon Islands have quite a bit of activity. Volcano, the undersea earthquakes there. Clear that to prevent tsunamis. And on eastward to the Tonga Trench. A lot of activity along that trench today and in the islands of Samoa, Tonga. Southward to New Zealand. We're clear the major fault line that bisects New Zealand that has been the creator of that landmass. Now we move eastward to the East Pacific Rift in the center of the Pacific Ocean. This is a major plate boundary. There's major activity there. With that energy upward that has the capacity of creating tsunamis. And on eastward to South America, Chile, full length of the Andes Mountains, with the energies upward, through the ancient volcanoes, the natural relief valves, releasing energy from the subduction zone of the Peru-Chile Trench. Now on northward to Central America, the subduction zone is creating the volcanoes, Guatemala, Nicaragua. Lift that energy upward. Now energy eastward to Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, multitude of small activity quakes there, and that continual shifting. And in the mid-Atlantic ridge to the north, at the Reykjanes Ridge, Reykjavik, or however they pronounce it, in Iceland, fully energy off the volcano activity there. There's a 5-point indicating magma movement. Lift that upward. Let it come steadily and slowly. I move eastward to the eastern Mediterranean, Greece, Marina, Greece, 5.0, and southern Turkey. It's Ekrovia. Then eastward to the Himalayan uplift. The northwestern end of that is creating some activity around that Afghanistan, up through Kyrgyzstan. Eastward through the plateau of Tibet to China, and that subduction zone between China and the plateau of Tibet. There's no active energy there at the moment, but in those major fault lines, we lift and clear any potential destructive energy. And move eastward across the Pacific back to a point of beginning. To the central United States, in the fracking zone, in Oklahoma. Lift those energies upward, clearing the pollutants that we're injecting into the water and oil zones there, and the gas zones. Now bring your awareness back to the point of beginning. Lift your energy or awareness upward into the human level of consciousness, and take our awareness back to Iraq, and the tribes are working there to create a parliament in Iraq, and they're doing a wonderful job now that Malachi's gone. So we continue to, and feel this radiate through your hands, unconditional love coming from the galactic center to the parliament leaders in Iraq that are emerging. We give them energy of dominion to think as one people instead of distracted tribal people. You see them very close to seating their parliament, and immediately afterwards the revaluation will be released around the world, and the entire world financial structure will shift in response to this. No abundance of funds coming into the systems to clear up old debt, to shift the system from domination to dominion. So we see a resonance of energy radiating out from Iraq around the world, carrying it with it dominion. Where the world can work in harmony, all the governments in harmony, religions will allow the governments to function, and all people of the world choosing to think and make choice in dominion rather than reacting to the old programs of domination. We're free from earth mind, particularly in the Muslim states, free from earth mind, the old programming of the Akashic records that maintain the instinctive consciousness of subjectivity to the gods or to their selected leader god. You see, it's also resonating through the Christian world. People coming to the self-realization that their God is within. Even as the Christian leader Jesus indicated, they should look within themselves instead of outside of themselves for their spiritual power and focus. And we feel a light radiating from our central core of our unified awareness now, the light of our unified field that understands dominion, clarity, and right choice, resonating around the world. We feel the galactic helpers radiating energy through our hearts and our hands, and making unconditional love and peace, balance and harmony the way of the world in the new world reality. And we project this into the future. Even as we receive back from the future balance and stability, that is the new world order of the future, bringing peace and harmony back into the hearts and minds of all mankind. Balance and harmony. And we feel joy come into our hearts, resonating outward to everyone in the world. The joy of the realization of the new world order. The new world reality, manifesting through our 0 points, resonating with every heart on earth. The new world reality. Now, even as we do that into the group mind consciousness of the world, we feel a resistance in our throats. That resistance is a block to communication. So we open and clear, release the blocks to communication, which will open up all the standards of the world so everyone understands everyone else, that the need for world wars or any war is cleared and released. Releasing the subjectivity that allows soldiers to follow the misguided leadership of the government leaders who are operating in domination. Bring all to all soldiers and would-be warriors the realization that there is no need for wars. To refuse to serve, to find other ways and means of supporting themselves. All the mercenaries in the world turning to peaceful means of coexistence. And we feel the resistance in our throats lessening as we direct our intensity to the throat chakra, to the communication centers of everyone in the world, clearing the blocks, bringing the self-realization that we are all one. Bringing the light from our heart center to our throat chakras, communicating to all others that we are one through self-realization. And so it is. Now bring your awareness back into your own reality, your own surroundings, your own communities, and extend the resonance you feel now out into your communities, to let that be the groundwork and the center of communication for the world, that your unified communal intent affects everything and everyone in the world. Peace begins at home. Harmony begins at home. Balance begins at home. It's how everyone conducts their lives and makes their choices. So we resonate peace, balance, and harmony into everyone's home around the world, everyone's way of expressing the way we treat each other, the way we want to be treated. Balance and harmony. And we carry that forward into the new world reality, projecting it into the future. And we use this energy to nullify the chaos that the world is leaning into right now as the dominators are getting frantic in their determination to destruct the world if they have to maintain control. We weaken them through taking away from them the support of the people that hold them in power or follow their patterns of society, government control, business control, religious control. The people turn away and look to dominion, to each other, for support and nurturing, and within to find their spirituality. And so it is. You bring us back up now, back up into your soul center, and out into your self-realization center, and on into your mental emotional center, your mental mind, and open your eyes and you're back in the world feeling wonderful. Okay, JP, we're back. Do you have anything to add today?
I think we lost JP.
Hello, JP, are you there? I don't see him.
That was wonderful, Frank. I feel like we solved the problems of the whole world.
Yeah, let's just shut it all off now and go on creating our own world. All right, any comments from anyone? We have a few minutes here.
When we were in the Pacific, you were speaking of subduction somewhere, say before you got into South America, somewhere in the ocean, that I know that you hadn't mentioned before in past. And when we were there, I kept getting images of deep submarines sending out blasts of a vibrational type sound that was almost deafening. I know that they've talked about whales and dolphins being affected by that. And I will say that I got hit with this sound that was just deafening to where I lost everything until you got into, I think, the volcano thing around Iceland is where I was back in.
Yeah, there's between the major plates, there can be a lot of suboceanic activity where the magma rises up along those plate lines to force the plates apart, and actually that's what creates the subduction under the continents that border the Ring of Fire, including the U.S. So there's a tremendous amounts of energy constantly being exchanged and released, and that's what we're learning to tap into and utilize. Any comments? Well, I think we're off the air, so we shall close it up, and we are.
Thank you for teaching us about the timeline. That was nice, and I could feel it. Recently my spidey senses are increasing, and I'm finding myself able to travel and be in different places. So this felt like a relatively easy exercise for me.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's just feeling with your body, let your body being the sensor of the psychic receptors, and that's also the receptors from the future and past. And it's just a body signal that you program to feel resistance when there's a change or when you hit the point that you've asked for, whatever it is. And it works.
Mm-hmm. I could hear you guys talking earlier, but I was in the other room feeding my cat. And Rachel was mentioning that her senses are increasing tremendously, and I've noticed it also in a different way. Mine is more earth connected. And yesterday morning when I woke up, I was just getting up, and all of a sudden I felt this ominous sensation that a big storm was coming. And I haven't been listening to any radio, TV, or anything like that about the weather. And then at 7 p.m. last night, all of a sudden the sky went black, and a great big front moved over, and it was rain, lightning, thunder until around probably about 11 p.m. So it was a huge energy, and it was fascinating to me that I could actually feel it coming.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, not only can you feel it, you can affect it, even if it's affecting you. Rachel, could you lead us in, since we forgot to bring the rain into California, could you extend out and we'll drop back in and help you with that project?
Okay.
You can have some of our rain.
Oh, I would love it. Okay, we'll call on wherever it's raining, but I believe there's a storm or a hurricane in Mexico. I'm not exactly sure the specifics, so I'd like to bring that in. There's a chance of rain in Southern California, and it's coming up from Mexico. So I'd like to connect in with the divas and ask for their help. And I see them pulling, and all of us pulling the blanket of clouds coming into the drought areas, and just pulling all of that in until the rain clouds are over all the drought areas and giving us plentiful rain.
All right, we see that whirling low-pressure center off the Baja, and it is paralleling the coast, moving northward. So we keep reinforcing that with energy, so the destructive portions of the hurricane maintains, it maintains itself in a non-destructive level, like a type 1 or type 2. It carries sufficient moisture as it generates it off the Pacific and swings it northward in that spiral of energy up through Arizona and Utah and California. You see that happening quite strongly now. Oh, that feels good. You see it enough force that it creates runoff to fill the reservoirs, but not enough to be destructive. Rachel, if you'd like to tone a frequency that would inspire the divas to hold the form of our request, project it to all of California and the southern, southwest, that could be beautiful.
Okay.
That's so interesting. I saw some visualization of the Hopi Indians and ancient Indians of that area doing exactly the same thing. So no time or space, we reach back in time and bring the power and energy of the Hopis who could attract rain.
I also gathered up the rain clouds and placed them for you to a large accumulation of the rain clouds from here. From last night, I've dropped them there in that for all of the energy and handfuls of rain.
Bucketfuls.
Yeah.
And I hear the galactic flow above us.
Well, we're about out of time, so would you like to wrap this show up, Gary? And we'll go on to our stellar group. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. The evening show, the World Healing Show.
And we'll be here.
Okay.